in demons from the same guys who brought you the Da Vinci Code. The story exposes a secret society called the Illuminati, but this shadowy group has a very real secret that stretches all the way to Arizona. Investigative reporter Tammy Leitner brings us a story of money, murder, and mystery right here in the Valley.
We are under attack from an old enemy. Find Professor London.
The race to save the Vatican and all of humanity from the clutches of the Illuminati is great fiction on the big screen. But the powerful organization is no myth.
The Illuminati do exist.
Our modern Illuminati mystery brings us to the most unlikely of places, Sun City, the quintessential retirement community. And among the retirees, a man with a secret. Paul Marcinkus was once a papal guard, an archbishop, and president of the Vatican Bank.
Oh, no, he knew quite a bit.
And what Marcinkus knew is at the center of a conspiracy theory that has endured for decades. Attorney Jonathan Levy has been locked in a legal battle with the Vatican Bank for years. He says Marcinkus is the central figure in the mysterious death of this man, Roberto Calvi. Calvi, like Marcinkus, was an Italian banker.
They very well were the Illuminati, at least in Italy. Powerful people behind the scenes operating in secrecy.
In 1982, Calvi was found hanged from the Blackfriars Bridge in London. It was staged to look like a suicide. Calvi was connected to the disappearance of
And we have Dr. Jonathan Levy with us, international law, adjunct faculty at Norwich University in the field of terrorism. Dr. Levy is best known for his role as counsel for plaintiffs in the lawsuit versus the Vatican Bank. We'll talk to him in a moment.
Shattered by the sun, I walk the road, horizons change, the tournament's begun. The purple piper plays his tune, the choir softly sing, three lullabies in an ancient tongue for the court of the crimson.
VaticanBankClaims.com is the website. Dr. Jonathan Levy joins us. He's obtained declassified documents and hundreds of previously unknown documents regarding a Vatican spy master. So people want to go inside the Vatican spy system, their international espionage systems, what they're up to. Well, we look long and hard to find actually a real accredited expert on this and not one of the myriads of quacks and weirdos out there, but I think this guy's got some pretty good background and research. Dr. Jonathan Levy, professor at Norwich University. Sir, thank you for joining us. Tell us, because, you know, in a 3-minute newscast, we only played part of it, it's not very clear exactly what's going on. Boil it down for us, and why are you, 9-10 years later, still in a lawsuit with the Vatican?
Well, yeah, thanks for that introduction, Alex. But, yeah, we've been in federal court for 10 years now. We filed the lawsuit in 1999 seeking return of Nazi gold from the Vatican Bank, and the Vatican has tried every legal trick in the book to get that case out of there, including going to the U.S. ambassador to the Vatican, going to Condoleezza Rice, and we've hung in there, and we're still continuing.
Okay, well, I mean, give us a boil down of the Vatican, the Nazis, what happened with the gold, how this ties into the Illuminati, how this ties into Vatican intelligence operatives. What would that be, the Jesuits?
Right, Jesuits, Franciscans. In fact, we're suing the Franciscan order as well. But to start at the beginning, as World War II was wrapping up, a group from former Yugoslavia called the Ustasha, which ran the Nazi puppet government in Croatia, started evacuating all the gold and loot they had gotten from concentration camps, whose victims mainly were Serbs, Orthodox Christians, and they were welcomed at the Vatican. A 10-truck convoy of loot was driven into St. Peter's Square. and deposited at the Vatican Bank in 1946. U.S. intelligence knew about it, but none of this came out until 1997 or 1998 when the U.S. State Department released information. And we followed it up after that point, did the research, got the declassified documents, sued the CIA to get the declassified documents, and filed a lawsuit in federal court for return of the gold or an accounting of what happened to it.
Well, obviously the Nazis had robbed much of Russia and Western Europe, the Mediterranean, and just unbelievable art, huge salt mines full of gold, diamonds, Rembrandts, and a lot of it disappeared to the U.S., the Russians, but also, as you were reporting, the Vatican. Continue with your lawsuit, the documents you got, where this money went, where these Nazis went, or these Nazi puppets went, and how this ties in to the Vatican Bank and that news piece we just played part of dealing with the Illuminati.
Sure. To cut to the chase on the Illuminati, how do you move literally tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars worth of gold after the end of the Second World War, when you know it's contraband, Italy's occupied by the U.S. Military? Well, you do it in connection with some very powerful folks. And people in the CIA, Jim Angleton, who was went on to be head of CIA counterintelligence, was involved. British intelligence, the MI6, was involved with this plot. And it leads up into current banking at the Vatican Bank, going on into the Calvi murder and up into the 1990s with the breakup of Yugoslavia. Who financed all that? Who bought the arms for the Croatians? Where did the money come from? And we think we know the answer.
The Croatians had actually served the Nazis, for those who don't know, and the Serbs, I'm not playing sides here, it's just facts, were asking Madeleine Albright, whose family they saved, including her, why are you doing this to us? And they just laughed at them. But I'm glad you know the history. That's why researching your stuff, it's so accurate for my own research. It's good to find somebody out there who knows more than I do. I don't know that much, but who's actually accurate. Now, understanding all of this, I want to go through some of the history of that and bring it up to today. But how much loot does the Vatican have from their exploits worldwide? And I mean, is it true that they hoard a lot of it in Vatican City itself?
Oh, that's a great question, and we found out the answer to that. In suing the Vatican Bank, we forced them to give up information about how they operate. Now, what they'll tell you is that they aren't really a bank. Well, it's probably true. They're more like a fencing operation masquerading as a bank. Their charter says that they can take all property, movable and immovable. Well, that's just about everything you can think of, any sort of valuable. Painting, a gold brick, antiquities, whatever you want to bring in there. The key to getting something into the Vatican Bank is the magic words, church property. If you can turn your loot, your stolen property, into church property, it goes in the front door at the Vatican Bank and out the back door. And the Nazis aren't the only ones that have done it. The Mafia has used the Vatican Bank for years, and a fella who I've been in contact, Marty Frankel, who's sitting in a federal prison in Texas for his part in the disappearance between somewhere of $50 million and $250 million of insurance money. All went into the Vatican Bank.
I mean, really, doesn't the Vatican operate kind of like one of these, the Cayman Islands or the Bahamas, or the way the Swiss do? You know, the Swiss are the armorers for the Vatican, historically, are their bankers. The City of London itself, I mean, all of these little special incorporations all have histories of this, don't they? But I don't think anybody has a history quite as deep and serious as the Vatican.
Well, they're pretty serious, and the reason is, of course, they have diplomatic immunity. Archbishop Marcinkus, that little piece from Phoenix was about, lived in Sun City. He was a criminal. He was wanted by the Italian authorities, but no one could touch the man because he had diplomatic immunity conferred upon him by the smallest country in the world, the Holy See.
So that goes back to the old thing of sanctuary.
Well, it's sanctuary, but it also goes to sovereignty. Remember, the Pope wears three hats. He's head of the church. He's the Prince of Vatican City, and he's head of a sovereign entity called the Holy See, which has diplomatic relations with well over 150 countries, and therefore diplomatic immunity.
Did you see how the Vatican refuses to pay Italy their power bills? I mean, again, I'm not hearing a